Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having an amazing day. We're taking a look here at Bitcoin, seeing what's going on. I just want to double check a few things, obviously. It does look like this pullback made perfect sense here. Got a nice little short there recently on our BingX account. But simply put, when it comes to this coin here with Bitcoin, we need to kind of understand big picture. So we're going to take a look at the back end data here with some liquidation levels, make sure we understand that. And then also give a quick congrats to some of our community members here as well for some nice profits there. So before we get started, I just want you to know I love teaching people to trade. Hope you can learn something here today. If you do want to learn how to become a better trader, cryptocash.tech is a site linked down below where you can register to become part of our premium service. I do offer premium and premium plus trades. We took some massive profits here from Lever, a nice, 81% off of a 5x leverage short in only 2 days. Same thing with Gallo. It took 22% in 4 hours. That was a nice, sweet little trade. You can kind of see that trade set up here. And then, of course, a handful of other trade results too. So, simply put, doing pretty well. We did have a stop loss here for Solana, of course, at 12%. That happens. But if you add up everything else previous with the Solana, XRP, BNB, XRP trades, like it all equals out right in the green. So again, congrats to our community members. I like to highlight this too. Keep in mind, stop losses are perfectly normal in trading. It's much better to take a small percent loss on a trade than it would be to take have to absorb a massive loss. Okay, so again, stop losses are all part of it, and that's just the way that it goes. Good news is we don't really take many stop losses on our swing trades just based on the strategy that I have in place. And again, feel free to ask me more questions on that if you are interested. Link down below, or just reach out to me on Discord, Telegram, or Twitter. We have some awesome stuff here as well, or mostly just play out charts and things you can kind of help understand what's going to happen with these coins. Okay, so with Bitcoin, what we want to talk about here is this little magnet. Again, I love this icon, just kind of giving you perspective on how previous resistances turn support levels work. Okay, and what I mean by that is if we take a look here at this most recent high, the price gravitates and pulls itself towards that. A lot of times there is fair value that needs to be absorbed, which we can see here if you can kind of see on the charts. Actually, let's just make it really quick and easy so you can kind of see this here. You see this green area, that's a first fair value gap. There's also a second one down here as low as 26.6. Not saying that second one's going to get filled, but generally speaking, they have a tendency of getting filled eventually, which we just saw happen. Interestingly enough, the price wicked all the way down to the lower level and turned right back around. Okay, so 27.1, as I mentioned previously, would be good long position potential. Okay, so that's looking good here. We can kind of verify that fair value gap's been filled. That's awesome news. We can also verify too that we got a lot of volume in this range here, but most of it's accumulated down closer to about 26,000. Okay, so we're starting to stack up some more support. But generally speaking, the most recent high should work as the most recent low, and that's tentatively what you're seeing so far. Okay. All right, let's look at the back end data, kind of see what's going on here. These are things I think are important to recognize. So we are starting to see some short liquidation levels accumulate right at about 28,700. So 28.7, my guess is those are shorts that opened up right here closer to about 28.6. And that's basically just a liquidation level telling us if the price comes up to that level, the price should continue further because we'll see a short squeeze and they have to close their shorts, hedge their shorts with some longs, and it just shoots the price action up. Same thing as well here, another level at about 29,200. 28.7 to 29.2 is the range. And then on the lower levels here for longs, the price has to come all the way down to 25,600 in order for the longs to get liquidated. There's more room, I guess you could say, more wiggle room for longs than shorts right now based on liquidation levels. And that's important to recognize because we can also see here, and we're starting to see a lot more longs enter the market here. And that's an important thing. Once we see that shift in momentum, we can summarize that the price will increase from there. Now, again, just because you have a lot more longs in the market doesn't mean the price has to go up. It just implies that there's more buying pressure at certain levels. And with the price action increasing here, or the amount of longs entering the market, last couple of days when the price goes sideways at 24.5, that's a positive sign. Okay? So that's more of a green potential outlook. Speaking of green outlook here, let's see if I can highlight this just really quick. I sent this article a couple of days ago, if I recall correctly. Here we go. Just something to kind of brush you up to speed in case you're not familiar. These are like historical average monthly performances for Bitcoin. September is always a red month, but we can see here October is the second largest, most gainful month of the year. Okay? So they refer to it as Uptober because there's a shift in momentum that occurs. A lot of it likely is due to the holiday season and things just kind of people being more active in spending. But there's a lot of other theories as well. Generally speaking, I just like to kind of provide that perspective so you can kind of see that October, we should expect a green month this month based on that sentiment. It's a positive sentiment in the market overall. Okay, so that's kind of a good place. Last thing I want to look at here, of course, on high block capital, just a couple of things here as well, is your open interest. Let's take a quick look and see where the longs are leveraged the most. We can see some longs at 27.6. So they're breaking even now that the price action is coming up, but they were in red for a little while, of course, because the price wicked all the way down to 27.1. And then we can also see here as well, some shorts are starting to get into the red. So a lot of break evens here for the current market. Taking a quick look at the heat map here, we can see in the last 7 days that we have a lot more liquidation levels lower than higher. And that just means in the last 7 days, we've seen a lot more higher leverage trades enter the market in the long position, effectively telling us that, hey, the price comes down to 26,000, we're going to see some pretty strong liquidation. So there's a lot of liquidations here at the 26.9, 26.6, and 26 even range. So please bear that in mind. I wouldn't be surprised if we see one last little candle wick down to wipe those out. I have a lot of limit orders at 27, 26.5, 26 even. I like to be able to put my entry targets at every $500 for Bitcoin, just to kind of average my price down if it were to wick down. I really enjoyed, in retrospect, getting that nice candle wick down to 25,000, 24,000, and getting a good fill on my spot position. Okay. So again, consider adding to your position because we don't know how much longer the price is going to be in this range. I'm not saying we're just going to explode towards 40,000, but I do think that we will definitely see 30,000 retested this month or next, just based on statistical probabilities of previous month behavior or previous year behavior, right? In this month and next month. So just something to be mindful of. All right, so we kind of talked about the magnet there, and we can kind of look at the daily, and let's work our way down now too, because we can see, of course, there's this gap here in volume with the current price action where we're at and above. Okay, so between the current price action and 29,000, not a tremendous amount of volume unless we could zoom out further. But generally speaking, we are seeing in the last couple of weeks, there's a lot of resistance at this level. But more importantly, if you look closely, we can kind of see here that there's not a lot of volume in the recent past. What that basically just means is that we have more potential for resistance in this area. There's more price discovery that need to occur in the most recent time frame. We can also identify too that there's some previous fair value gaps upwards of about 29,000 that could get filled, and then there's a lot more liquidity as well that hasn't been swept yet, both to the upside and downside. So those are kind of concerning in a sense. I personally feel like we might see one more leg down before the next push up. A push down to 26,000 would make sense to wipe out all the longs and then to effectively be able to hit the reset button and shoot straight back up from there. So I'm kind of prescribing a little bit more towards the thought process we're going to see the price come down. Again, that's just me knowing how whales will manipulate the market. Speaking of whales, this is actually kind of funny. I think that we are talking about like, hey, how do whales manipulate the market? And then when they kind of send this picture, like, oh, that explains why and what happens essentially, because you control majority of the market share, you can kind of manipulate the market how you want. Regardless, that's more humorous than anything, but just kind of letting you know that generally speaking, whales do play games, and with the price action being kind of more on the positive side, they love to hit that reset button and just wipe out a lot of liquidation. And there's tons of it. We can see, right, the 26.6, and 27,000 mark. So again, all the more reason to consider adding to your position as the price comes down if it does. We don't know it will, but that is something to be mindful of. Here's another key takeaway here. We got the 200-day SMA working as a resistance level there at 0.236 on Fibonacci. So right there, I'm going to round up and say 28,000 even is a key level resistance for the moment. Okay, so we got to be mindful that that is potential reality of holding the price action in place. We could also see a double top here where the price comes up and then back down, or potentially even just a type of cup and handle, not the cleanest one, but you could kind of see one forming here as well, where the price is retesting that resistance to break through and potentially utilize that as a new support. So again, there's a few different theories in place. Key takeaway here is that we are still tentatively bullish. We're above the 50-day SMA. This descending trend is it's still working its way down. We see this 20-day SMA, and that's the most important trend line I like to pay attention to as far as understanding, if we should be long or short. I'm still more long biased towards that because we are on the right side of that. Okay, so keep that in mind. Also note too, this is inevitable or likely inevitable. It's not always 100%, but it's more likely that's going to happen, where the 50-day SMA will start to swing its way up, and we'll eventually have a golden cross, giving us just that extra level of support. Again, it's going to be helpful if the price action's above that when it happens, just so we can rely on that being a support. But between now and then, we got to assume the 200 will be a resistance, so 28,000 is a resistance level. And of course, swinging upwards here, we got that support, both those other moves. We're above 50 on the RSI, which is fantastic. Money flow index is still remaining high. That's good. So the daily does look fairly decent. There's no doubt about it. I'm tentatively bullish on the daily minus the 200-day SMA. Look at the 4-hour here. We did lose the 20-day SMA, not fantastic. We have this little ascending trend here with 50. Again, we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. That just kind of gives us an understanding of generally where we're at. Here's something I do find to be somewhat concerning. If you see money flow index coming down, RSI going up, it's usually a red flag that there's not a lot of strength in this next push, and that a potential pullback would make sense. So 27,600, this 0.382 Fibonacci level, is likely going to hold as a resistance here. We could see the price action come down lower. In fact, that seems like a much more real reality thing than unreal, because just based on how the money is flowing out of the coin, it's important to recognize that. Again, see, we're starting to work our way down underneath this moving average. That's going to hold us in that resistance, somewhat of a resistance there too. So I don't love what I'm seeing here with the volume or the money flowing out of this coin. I also don't love that we have tons of liquidation levels at the 26.6 and 27,000 range. That leads me to believe we're going to see those levels retested before the price action comes up. Because again, just say hypothetically we come down here, we wipe out these longs at 27,000. That'll cause the price action to push down a little bit further, and then longs start getting scared, they start pulling out. Then we start seeing the price come down lower. That's usually what happens. My speculation is that 26,000 is a potential reality here for the price to get retested, and then we'll probably see a leg up from there. I'd even welcome the thought process of coming to 25 or even 21,000. I know that sounds crazy, but I'd much rather be able to utilize that tether that I have at lower price points than just kind of see the price explode right now. Again, that's the way it goes either way. I'm not trying to be pessimistic, but that would be really awesome just based on being able to average a price down. That's the only reason I say that. Okay, forget I said that. Let's go on over to the hourly here. We've summarized, though, that the daily is looking pretty bullish, or at least fairly bullish, rather. The 4-hour does have some concerning factors, but it does still kind of, it does lean a little bit more towards more increase than decrease if you do not factor in volume. I think volume is a very strong indicator, so I do think that we might see somewhat of a fake out here with this little push up. But the hourly should tell us where we're at here. So Ichimoku Cloud, okay. This is not fantastic for long, so just bear in mind if you are in a long position, we're coming up to this resistance level. And if you look in hindsight too, you can kind of see how the cloud works. Once you break cleanly above the cloud, you can see the price action stays above the cloud until it doesn't. Okay, so now that we've shifted that momentum, we can see the price action will start to work itself likely down because we're holding them below that resistance level. Again, the cloud is a lot of different things kind of included in one, but we have the conversion line below the baseline. That's never a good sign. Our lagging span is intersecting with the price action, and we're coming into the cloud. So to me, this kind of screams reversal, once again, based on what we've seen here with everything so far. So I'm not saying that we're going to drop like a rock here. I just feel, it kind of feels like we're going to see those liquidation levels at 27,000, 26.6, and 26 even. Coincidentally, these are all Fibonacci retracement levels, are going to be hit. Okay, so I think each one of those are going to be hit. So that's just my speculation. I hope it happens soon, so we can just kind of knock it out, and then we just get back on track. Again, none of this could happen. We could totally shoot through the cloud right now, don't get me wrong, or just break through that resistance level at 28,000, but I don't know. It's hard to say. You be the judge. Let me know. What do you think is going to happen next? I hope that you can let me know, and it looks like we got somebody at the door here as well. I hope you have a good rest of your day. We'll see you in the next one. Take good care.